go. Attaboy. Well done. Well done. Claps all around.
Retake. And his opponent in the top right, representing Ukraine and Starcom Gaming. He is the blue Terran player. It's Papa Cass. I love Cass.
Oh man, I do as well. Cass looks like he's playing a fairly standard, probably going to be a Reaper expand here with that one gas going down. You know, more and more, Grant, we see Terran players opening up with a Marine opener against Protoss players. Just harder and harder to get the Reaper in as Protoss players improve their micro with the depths and stalkers. But with the one gas down, likely going to be a Reaper expand here. Already we can see that Reaper queued down to the natural, and then I imagine it'll be queued onto the probe as soon as it's finished up. So standard stuff here, and a gateway, of course, on the high ground for Goblin, who's going to block off the Reaper jump up spot. Now, Grant, how much money would you have to be offered to take a bet that Goblin is not going for Stargate here in game number 1?
Probably not too much. Now,
well, Marine opener. Never mind. I was wrong about Cass, but that's all right.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think Cass a little bit worried about a pylon block or something going down and just being annoying here. And also, he just wants this probe gone ASAP. So the Marine will come out, it builds very quickly, it can kill this probe very quick. And he's not too worried about scouting straight away. He'd rather get the CC down as a priority. We may see an SCV go across the map shortly anyway. So Goblin, he may choose here on Jagannatha to do something a little bit more funky. He is, for now, just getting his natural, getting a Stalker as his first unit. And no tech choices yet. I think Stargate is what people expect from Goblin, but actually he doesn't make a lot of Void Rays versus Terran, because they're just not that great.
Yeah, there's something about that Terran tier 1 unit that's slightly better against defending Void Rays than, say, the Zerg tier 1 unit. Those Zerglings, for some reason, not quite as good against Void Rays. I'm not sure why. I can't put my finger on it. Maybe I'll acquire some more game knowledge in the future and be able to know why Zerglings aren't quite as good against Void Rays. But you're absolutely correct, Grant. Goblin is going to go Stargate first, and I think you're right. Maybe one Void Ray. Even then, I think it's unlikely, especially as Cass is going for a 2 racks opener here and dropping a tech lab on that barracks, indicating we're going to see some very early aggression out of Cass here. He wants to put some points on the board really quickly.
Yeah, we do have Goblin moving forward with the Stalker, is going to try and slow down the CC. He's actually choosing to get the SCV built in the bunker instead. I mean, either way, one of them was completing. Probably both will complete it, yeah. But he does kill a couple of workers. This is nice. Stop some mining just for a few moments there, so a decent start. And Goblin is beginning the production of Phoenixes. And before Goblin was known as the Void Ray guy, he was the Phoenix Colossus guy.
He's got to change his vanity license plate.
Yeah, definitely. He very, very good at controlling Phoenix Colossus, knows when to let the Phoenixes target the medevacs, knows when to lift key units like Marauders or tanks, and with Zealots underneath it, it's a very difficult composition for a Terran to deal with without ghosts. And I feel like actually Cass isn't like a big ghost guy. I haven't seen him make a lot of ghosts in recent history to my memory, although I can't be certain about that. Especially not very quickly. So this is going to be it's going to be an interesting one to see how Cass will react to what is, I imagine, going to be Phoenix eventually into robotics based units.
Interesting choices here from Cass, by the way, as we see Goblin dropping a Twilight Council back home, meaning he's not going to go for like double Stargate mass Phoenix, but really interesting choice from Cass here. Look at what upgrade he's going for out of that tech lab first on his barrack. He's going for combat shield first, Grant, not the more traditional stim first. And that can be an indicator sometimes, very occasionally, that the Terran player is not going to get that many medevacs on the field. If you don't have a lot of medevacs, you can't really afford to stim, right? Because stim costs some health every time you use it. And with a third barracks going down, it does look like this is going to be a very medevac light push. Cass already moving across the map, and this could be very scary for Goblin Grant. Yeah. He's invested so much into Phoenix, and as you said, Phoenix very flimsy against Marines.
Yeah, not only that, but he used some energy here on SCVs. I think that was probably a mistake. He needs to lift both of the tanks so his Stalkers can deal with the ground units. The tanks are the biggest threat here. We do see Phoenixes trying to buy a little bit of time for the batteries to finish. Batteries about 80, maybe 90% done. Tanks now going to siege up, and it looks like Goblin is going to probably wait for a couple more Phoenixes before he takes the fight. But the batteries are here. I guess he dies.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely correct. He loses that forward battery, which may have been placed a little bit too aggressively for my taste. These tanks able to siege up, and now Koss really needs to press the issue, I think. He's moving forward with one tank, but look at this. He's leaving a lot of his units back home, actually, not parade pushing across the map. So Koss not committing 110% to the push the way I might have expected him to. This is a very reasoned, very deliberate, very slow, judicial push by Koss here, but he's getting a lot of damage done. This is a lot of infrastructure for Goblin, and he's invested in the static defense, these shield batteries, a couple pylons, all going down right now for very, very little cost.
Yeah, now Goblin is going to go. He wanted to wait for Zealot charge and a whole bunch of those chargy boys to get in, but this is going to be the case, and an easy cleanup when all is said and done. Phoenixes will take down the rest of his tank. One of them will land, but it lands and is immediately surrounded. Can you imagine? You're just a Zealot with your blades for hands, and a tank lands next to you? You're like, what the fuck is going on here?
I kind of thought the tank was going to land and crush them. I thought if you have them right... Oh, jokes aside, that was really scary here. Oh, nice splits there by Goblin after the charge lot, eating that second Widow Mine. That could have been really scary if the Phoenix had grabbed that second one. Luckily, no Phoenix have been harmed in the making of this game yet. Not a single Phoenix lost. That's going to force the SCV full here to cast. Goblin's counterplay is actually going to be a lot stronger than I thought it was going to be. Good lifts there on the Widow Mines.
Yeah, I mean, the Widow Mines not getting magic connections here. Zealots now have free reign, and GG, Goblin picks up a quick map 1.
Yeah, what an interesting push there by Koss. He had clearly set himself up to do even more aggression at that natural. He was still cranking out Marines, had some more tanks ready to go, combat shields finished up. I thought that he was going to start parade pushing across the map, at the very least set up a contain and force Goblin to engage very heavily and waste a lot of units, at least a lot of units, if not a couple probes, dealing with that push. But he kind of just folded like a cheap briefcase there, and only sent out 2 tanks, only sent out a handful of Marines, and as you said, Goblin with a perfect response. A lot of charge lots, couple of lifts, cleaned it up easy peasy, and the counterattack was way too much for Cass to handle.
And that was Cass's map pick too, there on Jagannatha. We now move to Pillars of Gold, which is Goblin's map pick for map 2, and to see if Goblin can close out the series or whether we're going to get a match free here. But a good start here for the Croatian Protoss player. You can't ask for more. He just defended. He took no damage whatsoever in that initial attack in terms of actual units. It was all static defense that died. Cass did not get any probes. He did not really even kill any Zealots. Goblin was able to buy enough time to get like 8-9 Zealots, charge, clean it up, and then he just went. He just killed him.
Yeah, absolutely did. And this is great news for Goblin, who again beat Hero Marine yesterday. And guys, I can't overstate. I mean, I don't want to go too deep into the rabbit hole of what this means, because we still have, 5 more days of play for all these players, 5 more games for all these players to play. But Hero Marine, guys, is, I think, not just the out-and-out favorite to get first place in this Group C. Hero Marine is legitimately one of the out-and-out favorites to win DreamHack EU. I mean, he is up there in contention. Obviously, Cyril and Raynor, Clem in the top, but Hero Marine up there with the number one players. So if Goblin's able to unseat Hero Marine and get these expected wins against players like Cass, Christiana, maybe even Skillis, this could be a really, really solid run for Goblin, who is obviously now pushing for one of those top 2 spots in Group C, where he genuinely has a very real chance now, Grant.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great start, but he needs to keep the train rolling. For now, though, in the bottom left, here's the Ukrainian Terran player in the blue, representing Starcom Gaming. It's Cass.
And his Croat opponent in the top right-hand side in the red, representing Team Roddy and Protoss, it is Goblin.
Yay. Okay.
It's not quite the same when there's no screaming crowd behind you to cheer for the players super loudly. Again, we don't have fancy guitar riffs on this channel or anything.
I just have one,
Grant,
but I've been good with it.
Yeah?
I mean, it's not a guitar riff. I just have one sound clip. I'm saving it.
Oh, just the one sound. Okay, I know what you're talking about. I thought you'd souped it up and you had like a guitar riff for me today.
I was gonna do that, but then I got drunk and didn't do it.
Hey, you know what? There's time for everything in life. Guitar riffs sometimes, and relaxing. A glass of, I'm sure, with one glass of brandy that you swilled very carefully in front of a fireplace last night, as you considered what these groups were going to look like. Come on, Grant, roll with me here.
I know. I wish I had a fireplace, but I don't.
They're very rare in London. I remember the 2 places I lived, both had, one of them had a bricked up fireplace where there was a fireplace here in like the 1400s.
I don't like that. If your house was like originally built with a fireplace, have a second fireplace, you know?
Well, as I understand, the chimney construction wasn't great because they were used to, in the olden times, as I understand, the chimneys were just constructed to expect to have a fire in them all the time. But in modern days, you light a fire if it's like a special occasion. So in the winters, the cold air would just basically pour in through the fireplace. And since people weren't building fires every night to protect against the cold air, they were like, wow, this fireplace is kind of crap unless we use it every night. And I don't know how much lumber you're able to chop these days, Grant, but from what I understand, it's a little bit difficult to...
I'm a lumberjack through and through.
Okay, well,
from Cass is going to get a probe here. Sorry to interrupt you, Creighton. And maybe even get a second. Goblin sent his adept immediately. Where? He's killing so many workers.
Adept in the middle of the map right now for Goblin, and this is 3 workers down with a 4th potentially on the way. Finally, Stalker pops out from Goblin, but yeah, nice little start from Cass. Not game-ending or anything, but 4 probes? That is 20% of Goblin's economy right now, Grant. This is not a good start for him, and the full scout.
Yeah, Goblin wasn't expecting the Reaper. It came in at a slightly awkward time. He sent his adept immediately across the map here. Now the good thing is, oh no, he mistargeted.
Oh, man.
It was so close to not being able to complete. I mean, if he'd have stopped that, it would still not be done. It would be until these Marines came out, probably, that the CC wouldn't be complete. So this is rough for Goblin. But, as we said, it isn't game ending. He wants to be 4 workers higher. He's probably going to have to use Chrono he would use elsewhere on his economy. So his Stargate was not Chrono boosted in order to get these Phoenixes out. This Reaper is, that's getting lifted. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah, Goblin clearly listening to too much Blue Oyster Cult in his pre-game warm-up. Exactly, and he took that advice to heart and didn't fear the Reaper when in fact he probably should have, Grant.
Such a good song.
The good news is, Goblin is not a player who has a fever, and the only prescription is not Phoenix. He's building a Twilight Council behind this. He's not going all in on this Mass Phoenix. Wait a minute. He's not going all in on this Phoenix build. He's going in for charge lots behind this. He knows he's got to defend against potentially another early game push from Cass, and there it is. A hybrid drop with the Widowmite and some Marines. Does get caught, though. Yeah,
this is nice for Goblin, biding himself the time he needs. Because if this had caught him unawares, it would have done a lot of damage. These hybrid drops, very scary, even if the Widow Mines whiff, as they so often do with auto-targeting and things. Marines don't whiff. They just shoot stuff. So Goblin was at risk of damage there. Catching this early means it forces Cass to retreat, forces the medevac to be healed up here, and the Widow Mines to go back home. And Goblin is going to be able to take his 3rd base at about the 5-minute mark, relatively unperturbed by what is going on. Catching a couple of units here. Doesn't want to be losing any Phoenixes. Have we seen any go down yet? No. But they are all a little bit soft.
A little bit soft, Grant. Aren't we all these days in the time of Corona stuck in our homes? I feel like we're all a little bit soft, especially around the middle for me. I got a lot going on.
Yeah.
As we said, though, a big push coming out from Cass. This is to be expected when you get some early game damage done like that. And again, it's going to force 3 shield batteries out of Goblin. He's going to have those at his natural. They will be finished in time, but he might be forced to sack them again. What does Goblin have on the ground right now? Oh my god, it's 1 Adept and 1 Stalker. That is it. This is a big push from Cass, Grant. I'm really worried.
He forgot Warp Gate.
No, he didn't. Yeah, well, he's got it. It's just late. He got the start
out
a little bit
for a
earlier.
long time. He just didn't start it in time. It should be done. And it's not, which means there's no charge zealot. Zealot charge is done. There's no zealots though. And Goblin in a lot of trouble here. He's trying to lift, but he's losing the Phoenixes. He's putting them all together on super batteries. This is nice. It's very hard to just target 1 down with your whole army. But I just don't know if it's going to be enough here. Now Goblin is going to pull probes down. He has a zealot on the high ground. He needs every unit. Oh my god, is Goblin going to hold? There's no way.
I think he's going to hold here. The 4 shield battery is still alive. He's able to focus fire down the Cyclones. Since he prioritized the extra Phoenix out, he actually did skip Warpgate research. I think it was intentional. I'm not sure if he forgot about it.
He forgets it a lot on stream.
Does he really? Yeah. Interesting. So he either forgot it or could have been maybe intentional to make sure he had those extra Phoenix out. But as you said, sacrificing 5 of those Phoenix to get a little bit more damage done, well worth it. This landed Viking gonna get 7 kills before it's finally pushed away. Grant, let's pull up that units lost tab and see what this means for both of our players.
Yeah, so you can see Cass has lost more in total, sitting at 21-21. That's a funny number. Lots of Marines going down. Goblin's lost 11 workers, but his probe count is a little low, only at 37. He doesn't have a third Nexus yet. He is trying to take a hidden one. God, he's been spending too much time with Rotterdam. Yeah, the Phoenixes continue to be alive, though. I don't think many Phoenixes... Oh, 4 went down, okay. So a good amount did go down, but they still offer harassment potential. I think Goblin right now just needs to probe up, keep his tech going. His army is strong. He killed a lot of very crucial units. He killed, the Vikings, he killed the Cyclones, he killed mines, he killed a lot of Marines, he killed a medevac. All stuff that have to be remade. Cast also having to put down a lot of static defense. Wow, Goblin's going for his 4th base as well, off the back of this very ninja third.
It speaks so highly of Goblin's technical perspicacity as a player. When the engagement happened, he kept a cool head and a keen eye, able to target fire down exactly what he needed to target fire down. We saw him repeatedly lifting Cyclones, focusing that medevac as it tried to escape rather than lifting up individual Marines and wasting time. So Goblin made not just a couple of short-term good decisions on lifting those Cyclones, but some really good long-term decisions as well, focusing the medevac, making sure the Cyclone was picked up a second time to make sure it died and wasn't just out of the fight. And as he continues to add on Phoenix, he's going to be in a much better spot in the long term than he might otherwise be in the short term. As Cass's 3rd base lands, as you've so aptly pointed out earlier, Grant, Goblin's 4th base is almost 3/4 of the way done. And even though he's behind on probes, he's going to come roaring back economically. This is the chance that Cass has, though, to capitalize on his former advantage.
Yeah, Goblin has a lot of Zealots already out. 7 Phoenixes as well, and he's producing a lot of them still. Does he have a... Okay, ignore me. It was a slow warping, I think. Yeah, that's what it was. Goblin his economy is starting to get pretty good at 56 workers. Does still need to keep that going. He's building an Oracle as well, so he can start dropping those Revelations and getting +1 armor to really benefit these Zealots. His army is going to be very Zealot heavy, and I don't dislike that whatsoever. I think it is good against Bio. There's a few Widow Mines out, but not too many. Cass doesn't actually have a lot of factory units at all. 1 tank, 6 Widow Mines. Okay, where are they? At home?
Back home, yeah. Planted around to prevent the Phoenix from getting in, so it's very difficult to find the Widow Mines. We see Cass moving out here, but there's only 1 Widow Mine in that composition. He's going to try and drop a couple in the Mineral Lines here, but they will get caught there. No probe's going to die to those Widow Mines. I don't think the Phoenix will pick this off, but that means the Goblin's way out of position here for the push going into his main base right now. Yeah,
Goblin Cybercore will get sniped. Not the end of the world, because he is playing mainly Zealot. He's going to lose a Gateway and a Pylon. When the scan comes back down, there's an awkward silence there, like, what do? We can't see. Goblin's army, though, is still pretty strong. With the Revelation, he now sees the entirety of the army. He's going to be able to get the Widowman and the tank lifted. These Marines are in a very, very awkward position here. There's so many Zealots not fighting.
Yeah, I really like this position for Cass right now. Those Marines preventing the surface area. It's like when you're fighting against Zerglings, right? You just don't want those Marines or those charge lots to get good surface area on you. Now, the entire army for Cass will evaporate there, but there's a secondary force going on the left-hand side, going up to the north, and he is going to be able to take out this 4th base. I mean, there's no way Goblin can rotate to protect that in time unless he recalls, and I don't think it's worth a recall here to save this base. He still is even on base with his opponent. He definitely will lose this, but he may be able to catch the army of Cass on the flippity flop here as it tries to retreat.
There's very little DPS. Like, a lot of the Marauders aren't fighting, so Goblin's going to go for the defense here, I think. I mean, have to be careful, because there are ghosts, and the EMPs do come in on the Phoenixes, and that is the priority target here for Cass. The Phoenixes no longer have lifts, can't lift up the mines, can't lift up tanks or Marauders, slowing down these Zealots, stopping them getting great surface area. Goblin forced to retreat. He has the Oracle here that's going to have to fight as well. This is a little bit scary for Goblin. He is adding on a Robo. I think he needs to get Immortals into his composition. Widowman's going to reburrow, and it looks like Cass is going to try and break through.
Yeah, Cass is going to go ahead and push for it, and Gabo knows he can't hold that one. Cass did get Goblin did have a really good defense at his main base, that where Cass was able to take out his cybernetics core in the main. That little fight actually went pretty well for Goblin, right? He just invested a lot of army into defending it. Since he's been so far behind economically in the earlier game, he was just running from behind a little bit there. So Cass's timing working out fairly well. We were so excited about so excited about Goblin and the hold that he had at this natural very early in the game, but that set him so far back that he really struggled to recover from none of that. And Cass just played very solidly, didn't overcommit anywhere, kept the pressure on locations, and made that game his own.
Yeah, great result there from Cass. I did take a look. Goblin got a cybernetic score at 1 minute 25. He started Warp Gate at 4 minutes 45. That's a 3 and a bit minute gap there. Unfortunately here for Goblin, that I believe was a mistake. And now we move in to the rubber match on Death Aura to see if the players can, who can close it out.
Yeah, this is our first game 3 of the day, isn't it, Grant?
Yeah.
It is. Grant, before the day started, you and I are both talking. So, guys, for those of you who don't know, before each day, the A stream chooses which matches they want to cast, because there are 2 matches happening at the same time on the main stream, which is twitch.tv/ESL_SC2. And then the match is happening on the best stream, which is ESL_SC2B. At the beginning of the day, the A stream chooses the matches they want, and then we get our matches afterwards. So Grant and I always get to see, like, oh, what do we get from the A stream today? Or do we have, exciting matches? And I think we both agree that we have some really great players today. Just a great stable of matches, and matches that are a little bit more closely matched than we've had. Sometimes we get the matches where it's, Clem versus, I don't know, Creighton, and you're like, oh man, Clem's just going to destroy this one, right? There's no point in watching. But today we got a lot of really even matches, some 2-0 results, maybe a little lopsided games that we couldn't have predicted. But this best of 3 really go into the limits here. And honestly, Grant, I don't know who's going to win this last one.
No?
Both players looking, I'd say even. I don't know if anybody's looking much stronger. Nobody's making like huge mistakes. Really exciting stuff.
Yeah, let us introduce our players one final time today. In the bottom right of Death Aura, representing Team Rotti from Croatia, the Red Protoss player, my friend, it's Goblin. Oh yeah.
Maybe introduce the other player as well. I don't want to tell you how to do your job or anything, Grant, but And spawning in the top left-hand side of Death Aura LE, it is our blue Terran player. His name is Cass from Starcom Gaming.
Thought I'd just put the camera in random places as you're trying to introduce. Throw Cass
trying
off
to
even though he
throw me
doesn't know it. No, I'm throwing Cass off because of course our commentators aren't biased, but Goblin's one of my best mates, so
got to do everything you can.
Yeah. Goblin going for a probe scout, doesn't want to lose to anything crazy. He is generally a probe scouting player in this matchup. Wants to make sure there's no proxies, see that everything is normal, and try and slow down Cass if possible. Reaper again from Cass. Let's not sugarcoat it. The Reaper in game 2 did devastating damage to Goblin. If Goblin didn't lose 4 or 5 workers before the 2-minute mark, probably a different game here. I don't think in this one Goblin is going to send his first unit immediately across the map. I just think he needs to be a bit more careful, stabilize his early game, not forget Warp Gate. Because the Cybernetics Core is finishing now. In game 2, Goblin did not start his Warp Gate 2 and a bit minutes from now. Not great.
Exactly.
But we
exactly.
Go
on, sorry.
No. It looks like the Adept coming out. We'll have to see if it is going to go across the map. The Reaper for now is actually going to scout at home, and it looks like Goblin isn't going to get absolutely smashed by that first unit.
I think so.
Stargate.
Sorry, again,
that's okay.
making a bit of typing in chat. Stargate there for Goblin, no surprises, as you so aptly predicted. And Cass opening pretty standard again. Now, Grant, drop some knowledge on us here. Why does Cass continue to build a bunker in his low ground natural?
Because the depths are really annoying. If you don't
Maybe
build...
that's a fair answer.
This SCV, of course, very vulnerable. It can't run away, it can't defend itself. And it takes a while to build a command center down on the low ground. So if an Adept is rallied immediately across the map, it can snipe this, and it can then control the low ground because they do so much damage to Reapers and to Marines. It controls the low ground for a long time and really delays the CC. Just having a bunker here means that the SCV can jump into it, and also the Marines are safe to kill anything that is harassing very early.
What a tour de force of professionalism and game knowledge, Grant. It's so nice to be joined by a caster who can really tell us all what's going on. Sometimes, Grant, I feel like people do get a bit jaded. Those of us who watch a lot of StarCraft, we can watch these games and just say, yeah, of course he's building a bunker on the low ground. That's going to be great for him. And then we don't go out of our way as casters to explain why that is. And for maybe 10, 20, 30% of the people watching, they all know, right? They're like, yeah, of course he's building a bunker on the low ground. The depths are good and we know it can happen. But a huge majority, for those of you wondering why Grant and I very often will explain what you think are like, oh, very boring, basic concepts. It can be so important to let the 70 or 80 or however many percent of people it is who don't watch StarCraft every day, who are tuning in because they like this player, or they're maybe they're Croatians and they're just like, oh, I want to check in on what the Croatian StarCraft scene looks like, and to make sure those people have a really good understanding of what's going on as well. So we're kind of walking a tough tightrope between over-explaining the basics and making sure that everybody, not just the experts, know what's going on in these games. So Grant, I really do appreciate you going out of your way to explain to us why players do stuff like build a bunker on the low ground and why that's so useful.
Yeah, I mean, just to add to that a little bit, Creighton, I know most people here do go, yeah, we know everything. I can tell you right now that my dad is watching. Hi, Dad. Nice to speak to you. My dad doesn't know about StarCraft. He just wants to watch me. So if he can learn a little bit, if we can teach maybe some newer people just some basic principles so they can follow what's going on, that's always nice. So I know some people are like, don't care.
I always love Grant watching, comments on videos and stuff where you'll see the first comment will be, God, these casters spend too much time talking about basic stuff. And then the next comment, like literally right underneath it is, I'm so glad these casters spend a lot of time explaining these concepts. I don't watch a lot of StarCraft, and it's so anyway. Just so you guys know why we spend our time talking about what we talk about. Third base down for cast. Grant, do you think the third base is a good idea up against this Stargate play again from Goblin? Goblin doing almost everything correct and the same as he did last game.
Yeah, the difference this time is he does have more units on the ground. He is going to be able to deal with this push a little bit healthier. He's seen it coming as well with his Felixes. Is swooping around at the southwest side here. As long as Goblin doesn't get caught, doesn't want to be losing Phoenixes. He shouldn't take too much damage here. His third is going to come under fire. But with the Phoenixes swooping in from the side, I don't imagine this is going to kill Goblin. But it is certainly going to find a bit of damage.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that Goblin a little bit slow to respond to that. Will bait out the Widowmine shot with one Stalker, which is quite nice, actually. Very smart. But a good engagement here from Cass. With the Cyclones, obviously, a retreating Protoss army is not going to find as much value. There, finally, the lift's going down as soon as the medevac gets picked down. And this is actually another really well-executed fight from Goblin. Grant, there is a reason that Goblin loves to go with Phoenix, because he can control them so flipping beautifully. That could have been a terrible engagement for him, but he baited out the Widowmine shot, focus fired the medevac, picked up the Cyclones at the right moment, not too early, not too late, broke the lock-ons. Just a gorgeous engagement there from Goblin, where really he could have been under a bit of fire. Really well played there, and he's able to drop a Forge behind this. He's got to be feeling confident after that defense. Yeah,
his third didn't take too much damage either. I was a little bit concerned. I didn't know how many workers initially went down, but it was just 3, that's not a problem. Only losing 3 workers at this stage of the game. It's kind of expect to lose a couple, right? Goblin's going to be able to even that up right now with a few Phoenixes and get some counter damage. But his third is in position. It is strong. He's got the shell of his army now, the skeleton of his army, which is lots of Phoenixes and Zealot legs. Zealot charge. He's now going to get +1 armor for the Zealots and +1 weapons for the Phoenixes. Add in an Oracle for those constant revelations, and also maybe a stasis trap if it becomes necessary. And Cass, Cass does have that quite quick third himself. That is now an orbital, and that will be heading over to position as we are speaking. Goblin is in a spot to maybe contest this a little bit. But for now, both players going into the mid-game relatively comfortable, I'd say.
Yes, you seem to keep stopping talking just as I'm trying to respond to somebody in chat. Sorry, Grant. Trying to keep that Twitch interactive experience going despite the 2-minute delay. Obviously, for those of you just joining us, Grant and I are on a 2-minute delay right now to maintain competitive integrity for those players. So if you say something in chat and we don't respond to it right away, don't worry. We usually try and interact a little bit, but obviously just a bit behind to make sure that the players there's no possibility of a player getting some sort of unfair advantage. DreamHack does such a nice job of enforcing those rules, and I really think it's important that we do that. So cool stuff there. Anyway, as you said, Grant, +1 air weapons on the way, +1 ground weapons about to finish for Cass here, but I'm just a little bit worried about Cass, where we already see Goblin going relatively unharassed, up to 74 probes, up to 65 army supply. He's got revelations continually dropping. Cass finally getting that Ghost Academy, but you said it the best in game number 1, Grant. Cass is not a player who's going to rush up to the Ghost Academy and crank out thousands of ghosts or anything, so it's really going to come down to how many ghosts he can get out, but how much energy they can store up for those EMPs and how quickly he researches advanced shockwaves. Such a clutch and key upgrade when you're going against a big bio army like this, or a mobile army like the Phoenix. Don't forget, expanded EMPs don't just mean more EMP on more units. It does mean if you miss that EMP a little bit, if you're a little behind this Phoenix flock, you can catch a greater percentage of them with your EMPs as well.
Yeah, I mean, Ghost, the best way to deal with Phoenix Colossus, specifically the Phoenixes and the Zealots, because Zealots lose so much of their base tank ability when they are hit by an EMP, and Phoenixes can't lift if they've got no energy. So we are seeing 3 ghosts being produced at a time and enhanced shockwaves, and I questioned whether Cass was going to make a lot of ghosts at timings before the series starts, and he's done it. He's certainly making ghosts at a good time. He's not been hesitant. He's getting the tools he needs. But Goblin is now at 4 bases, double producing Colossus. He's adding on another Stargate and getting his fleet beacon. So I hope you like breakfast, as Creighton would say, because the griddle is on its way.
That's right. That fleet bacon is a sizzling in the main base of Gabo here as he grabs a 5th base at the 3 o'clock position. Cass just finishing up his 4th as well. We'll see if the is it already a planetary there at the 12 o'clock, Grant? I haven't checked recently.
No,
not a planetary yet, so it should be right there. We go, as we say it, on the way. And that's going to be difficult for Goblin to break. But if there's any comp that can break it, man, those Colossi can do such a good job. Charge lots on top of a planetary fortress can be terrifying, especially as the charge lots are going to be +1/+2 charge lots very soon, meaning they are going to last forever. Now, Grant, give me an overview. This attacking force from Cass, does it have an opportunity to really break Goblin here, or is he just going to try and take a good fight and maybe weaken him enough that he can get in for a second fight later?
Yeah, there's certainly potential with this. There's a good amount of Vikings to deal with the Colossus and the Phoenix. And a strong standing army with Ghosts. We're already seeing 4 Ghosts in the fray, and they are all at the other side of the map right now. But Goblin has good vision, has been able to scout out the movements. He has revelations, and he does have, we're looking at how many right now. The 31 Zealots alongside the 3 Colossus. So DPS isn't Goblin's problem right now. He just needs to make sure he doesn't get caught unawares, doesn't get caught out of position, and his army shouldn't get immediately melted here by what Cass has. But now both players have hit max. We're getting Ghosts coming in for the cloaks. We're getting +1 vehicle weapons coming in as well. So Cass is really starting to power up a little bit, and if he can deal with this mass Zealot force, Goblin is going to have to start looking at maybe transitioning towards Disruptors or something along those lines.
Yeah, Disruptor transition would be good here. Really nice EMP, though, from Cass here. And Goblin maybe overextending a little bit here. He's going to lose a lot of his Phoenix. Yeah. The Vikings still alive, and there are very few Stalkers on the map right now to deal with these Vikings. The Vikings getting some good shots on the Colossus, but now the ground army for Goblin, has been disintegrated. He's got to warp in more charge lot back behind this. He will hold his ground for now. Grant, give us an overview about that fight. Who won in that engagement?
Cass, without doubt. There was 31 Zealots before that, now there's 11. The Vikings got thinned out a little bit, but also things like the Phoenix count has dropped to 2. So Goblin lost a lot of key units. The only thing he managed to keep alive were his Colossus, and that is nice. Goblin, though, is transitioning behind this. It looks like he's done enough to buy himself enough time to get the first 3 or so carriers out. And we don't see carriers a lot versus Terran these days. It's not the most common. So I'm kind of excited to see what Goblin is going to do with this and how he's going to make this work. His upgrades are good. He is moving up to, he's got +2 armor for his ground units. He's got, as well as +1 weapons and +1 air weapons for the Stargate base composition. Those carriers will soon be at +2, and he is getting +3 ground. Oh my god, he's got so many upgrades, is my point. Spread across his entire army. And as carriers pop out, it's going to become more difficult for Cass. But Papa Cass is doing what we all want to see. Building nukes.
Grant, how closely are you channeling Mapu today on a scale from 0 to 10? How are you feeling about your upper skills?
I'm at about a 3.2.
All right, I'll tell you what, 3.2, for every nuke that you catch being launched out of the Cyclone with your massive pro observer skills, I will donate $10 to a charity of your choice.
Can it be the Grant Wants Food charity?
No, like an actual charity. Come on, buddy.
I caught one!
There you go. $10, you got it. Keep your eye on those nukes, guys. The first one not going to go down here. That second one also going to get canceled off at the 3rd base. I don't believe, yeah, that one's going to land here. The one at the 3 o'clock base, though, is also going to land. Yeah, the Ghost is going to get this one down. Unfortunately, just a little bit out of range of those 2 probe lines, so not a lot of workers going down right now. I'd say those first 2 nukes, not quite as effective as Koss was maybe hoping for, but he still has a huge army on standby outside the 3 o'clock base of Goblin right now, ready to move in at a moment's notice.
I'm just going to leave the camera here and make loads of money for charity.
That seems like a poor viewer experience.
Yeah, but charity, the viewers know, they want charity too. No, of course not. We do have more nukes being produced. Ghost Academy 3 and 4 being added on, and Cass, being the kind person that he is, put them right next to one another. so I can keep an eye on things. Goblin's army, though, is getting real scary right now. More upgrades coming in. We have another nuke getting dropped down at the 6 o'clock position, but a fight going in the middle.
Huge fight here. The carrier's finally engaging for Goblin. He's got 6 carriers on the map, which is a bit of a scary carrier number, and he's able to clear out those Vikings almost right away to stop their so much damage. A huge Purification Nova goes down. The nuke did land at that 6 o'clock base, taking out 9 probes, but I don't think it matters, Grant. Right. This army from Goblin still looking very, very scary. The interceptor number is still very high. Disruptors in the back, and with another warping of charge slots, this game could be very strong for Goblin very soon.
Yeah, we have more nukes being dropped at the 6 o'clock point here. Cast doing a good job of the nukes for economic damage and for zoning. It does look like this one will go off. We're watching it. Where's it coming from? Here it comes.
It's already out, mate. There's an attack going down at the 12 o'clock base right now. The carrier's taking down what they can. Remember, guys, Planetary Fortress simply does not work against carriers. It doesn't do much at all. The mass repair going down, but even this fusion core could be under duress here as we see the carrier moving down on the planetary. They need to focus fire down, though. Oh no, Goblin overstaying his scope. I'm going to recall out, but that's way too late.
Oh, losing 3 Colossus from the flip side. And Goblin has lost a lot of workers. He is still at the probe lead, but of course mules are really, really good. And the later the game goes, the less SCVs scale, so to speak. How many orbitals are we looking at right now? For Cass, he is sitting on just 5, but once he gets to 6 and 7, he won't need as many SCVs here. Goblin's bases are still mainly alive. They are bruised, but not broken. We do have another nuke getting fired off here very shortly. There he goes. Down towards... Oh my god.
Carrier's going to grab that ghost. So first nuke will be canceled. Second one should be canceled as well. As soon as he finds that ghost, he's desperately searching around for it here, but has got to get out of the way here. It looks like that one will actually land there. A couple of shield batteries going down at the 3 o'clock base, but it might just not be enough. Remember, guys, nukes are quite expensive, and even if you only land like 1 in 10 of them, that's about a fair trade for cost. So he's really got to hope for his next couple nukes really need to get some value out. Otherwise, he's going to be spending a lot of money on nukes that are not zoning out, they're not taking out army supply, and they're not destroying probes. Oh my god, this Viking count is insane right now, Grant.
It's exceptionally good. Cass's army is very strong right now. Goblin is really moving into like hyper late game composition of Carrier Disruptor. Probably will look to add some Storms in as well. Has he researched Storm? No. Does he have a Templar Archives? No. I'd like to see that. Maybe Goblin has a lot of money right now instead of... but right now, Cass is in control. I think it's fair to say. His
huge nuke lands there, Grant, by the way, that we missed at the 3 o'clock, or the 4 o'clock base, rather, for Goblin. 13 probes going down. If you'd like, I can take over observing to try and keep an eye on these nukes, if that'll help you out a little bit, since you're commentating as well.
Yeah, okay.
All right, we got it. One more nuke popping down here as the bottom 7 o'clock base does go down for Goblin. This is a nice little win for Cass, and he's going to move up, but the army supplies and worker counts roughly even right now. The nuke going down 12 o'clock, or the 6 o'clock is going to get canceled as only 2 probes go down to a ghost. Now working his way through this base, going to force a warp in back home for Goblin. Grant, is Goblin's choice to stick on carriers actually a good choice right now?
Yeah, I mean, if he can get to like proper maxed, lots of carriers. I would have liked to see High Templars as well. There are ghosts, of course, but Mothership plus High Templars are pretty good if you can find the angles. And here on Death Roar, there are a lot of flanking angles. Lots of places you can send the High Templars to come from different angles. I feel like as this game goes on, Cass is in control still. He's now moving into battle cruisers. He's getting Yamato. He's adding on 2 extra starports. And if this continues, Goblin's going to look to probably have to move into like Tempests, maybe a few Void Rays, just to deal with those bulky capital ship units. But Cass's army, I mean, it is very good. One thing Cass hasn't been able to do is mass expand. He hasn't got that many bases. $10 doodles for your charity this time. This nuke does look like it's going to land here, and this will find a bit of damage. It's pretty close to the Nexus and the probe line, and we should see 6 or 7 go down here. 5. Another one channeled up at the top side here. Goblin just... How many observers does he have? Because however many he's got, it's not enough. He's only got 3. He should have like 83 at this point, because these nukes are really, really becoming a nuisance.
Yeah, we're finally seeing cost paying off. These 4 nukes might seem like a bit much. You're like, man, do you really need 4 Ghost Academies? That seems excessive. But really, the key with these nukes in the mid-game and late game, especially as we've seen with Korean Terran players like Maru and with TY, when you're going for this mass nuke play, you really want to be landing them all over the map all the time to make sure that massive damage continues to happen. Big fight over here at the 9 o'clock, but it looks like he's not going to be able to, Goblin's not going to be able to engage here, and these poor ghosts are getting so many kills off the back of just being cloaked. Not even the nukes here. This is so many kills for these ghosts.
Yeah, Cass has killed 55 workers, and that number now about to break the 60 mark, which is great. Oracle going down a bit annoying here for Goblin. He really does want to keep Revelations. Goblin may be a little bit stuck right now. There's 5 battle cruisers being made at a time from Cass. So a big transition, a Protoss-esque transition coming in right now from Cass. And I don't know. It gets a little bit weird because battle cruisers hyper late game maybe can be dealt with by Tempest and things. We do have some EMPs going down here. Some great EMPs, lots of shields from these units going down. It looks like Goblin may just about have enough. Another nuke! Oh my god, 54 probes have died in the last few minutes. And that now leads the total to 94. But Goblin winning the fight with the army. Goblin's army is massive. He needs to kill everything with what he's got though. His bank, kind of minimal.
Yeah, his bank is down to almost nothing. 7 probes right now for Goblin. He's got to win on the back of exactly what he's got. Take a look at the units tab right now for us, Grant. We've got 11 carriers on the field to just 4 battle cruisers. Yeah. Sure, 1 more nuke is on the field, but that's not going to be enough here. It would have to be some sort of miracle, amazing, Twitch clip worthy nuke. I'm pretty sure the Goblin is going to get out of here. 6 BCs are out now, 4 more on the way, but if he can engage with these battle cruisers before the magical number gets up to like 10 or so, he's going to be really good. Let's see if Goblin can do this. He's got to win this game, and he's got to win it right now, Grant.
Yeah, I'm starting to like his odds a little bit here, Creighton. He managed to catch 1 BC early, and those are the power units right now. That is where the money is for Cass. He's going to blink forward and try and catch another one. There's not that much bio left on the ground. The good thing for Goblin right now is his air upgrades are very good. He has so many carriers. Purification Novas come in, hit so many of the Marines, and Goblin wins in the air. Goblin will be able to take this fight demandingly. He has 6 workers, 1/10, but GG, Goblin does it and takes the victory.